Islam Moorish. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I want to ask everyone who is able to please stand up and face the east and repeat after us as we recite the Moorish American prayer. We stand with our heels together, feet at a 45-degree angle, not quite a square, holding up 2 fingers on the right and 5 on the left as we face the east. Please repeat after us.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
The Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation.
Allah, my protector, my guide, and my salvation.
By night and by day.
By night and by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Through Ali.
Through Ali.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Islam Moors want to announce this meeting is now open. This is the Moorish Science Temple of America, Temple 30, Columbus, Ohio. First and foremost, we always rise giving the highest of praise to our Creator, our Sustainer, our Father God, Allah. We extend honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality so that we may learn to love instead of hate. We also extend honors to the forerunner, to the prophet, our brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey of modern day John the Baptist. And we extend honors also to the Moorish and the American flags. We extend honors also to our charter and its 10 wonders. And we extend honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh appointed by the prophet, brother E. Millie Ill. We extend honors also to all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America and all the faithful Muslims here in this meeting on this holy day. And we extend honors lastly to the office of the Supreme Grand Sheikh and Supreme Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam, Brother Jackson Bey, would you please read our divine constitution and bylaws?
Islam Grand Sheikh, arise, giving all praise to Allah, and honor to the Prophet Drew Ali, honor to the forefathers and foremothers, and honor to the Asiatic nations and the Muslims all over the world. Salvation, Allah, unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution, and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim a free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Moorish American Prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali, home office, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Peace and love. Muslims, happy holy day.
Islam and gratitude, brother. Brother Kobe, would you please read our writs?
Islam, Grand Sheikh, I rise and give perfect praise to the great God Allah. Rise and give honor to Noble Drew Ali. Rise and give honors to Forerunner Martin Messiah Garvey, the Harbinger. Rise and give honors to all Moors on the call, Moors on the planet, all ills and bays. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is instruction from your prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather, divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and the judgment is on now. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times are drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see. Ears to hear, but cannot hear. Least they'll be confined of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors. And every evil spirit is moving. They are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your profit. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed in every meeting, Islam. I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all and desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was a joke and unreal. But now, since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respects to me and the movement will be remembered. That's why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I need finance so badly as I do it in present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nation of the world would not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Excuse me. Prophet wants all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, and on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, the card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Jew Ali, and the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Jew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day, Muslims.
Islam and gratitude, brother. Sister Law Shay L, would you please read our additional laws?
Islam. I rise to give all praise to the great Father God, Allah. I give honor to the holy and divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali. I give honors to the forerunner, Marcus Messiah Garvey. I give honors to all faithful Muslims on the call and all Muslims around the world. Questionary and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Act 1, Grand Sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all business. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their EDEP meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on the meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish uplifting funds, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I would have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we're to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire. And let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of all said government, and know that they're not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Islam. Happy Holy Day, Muslims. Peace and love.
Islam and gratitude, sister. Okay, just going back to this, why did the prophet say that all members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school? And why must the teacher confirm himself to the questionnaire and let every member exercise his five senses who is able to do so? And then it says, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. All right. So I want to talk about this today because it's important for us to have an understanding, a thorough understanding of what the prophet is really doing here. I think it's important. I think a lot of us don't really understand how coming into this guarantees our earthly and divine salvation. The prophet put that in there. It's in chapter 8 for a reason, right? It guarantees our earthly and divine salvation. And it's specifically worded like that, right? There's even a separation where it speaks about Christianity for the Europeans, right? And when I say separation, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I'm just being honest. It says in chapter 48 in the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, verse 7, it says, well, let's go to verse 6. It says, we as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, right? So there's no Moors that are out here trying to separate us from Africa when we have a divine prophet who said that we descend from the inhabitants of Africa. We do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Then it says, therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation. Okay? So it was prepared. Christianity, as most of us were introduced to it, or as most of us have grown up in, this form of Christianity, for the most part, was given to us or forced on our ancestors by the Europeans. And so this is the Christianity that the prophet is saying was prepared by the European nations for their earthly salvation. He's not talking about maybe what the Coptic Egyptians or Ethiopians were practicing. He's specifically speaking about the Catholicism, the Baptist, the Protestant, the whatever form of Christianity you are comfortable with and that I'm comfortable with, that I was, born into, right? For a lot of us, that's Baptist. So it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation so that they could participate in trade, so that they can empower themselves and enrich themselves, and even give us a distorted form that paints us as less than or subhuman, right? But that's a whole other part of it. While we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. Okay, so that's specific. That's in there for our earthly and divine salvation. This is what we are returning to. So you'll hear a lot of people say, nationality is the order of the day. And while I believe that it's important, I would not personally say that nationality is the order of the day and put all of the importance on that. You need to come in and you need to proclaim and you need to say that you're not black and all of these things. Because there's people all over the world that have a nationality, that have a line of descent, and they don't have the things that they need, or they're in trouble, or they're in strife, or they're dealing with all types of issues in their various nations. So it's not all about nationality. For us, it's nationality and divine creed that guarantees our earthly and divine salvation. And that nationality, without that divine creed, you have nothing. The divine creed combined with that nationality guarantees your earthly salvation, right? For our earthly needs. So if you take away the divine creed, we'll be just like everyone else out here. Everybody has problems. Even though they have their nationality, even though they know who they are, they have their own names, they have their own customs and everything. They have their own airports, their own navy, everything. And they still have problems. So we still need the spiritual, even to take care of our earthly needs. So you need the divine creed for the earthly as well as the divine salvation. And that's why in there in Act 5, as Sister Lachey L just read, all members must promptly attend their meetings. That means Holy Day, as Muslims all over the world hold to the Holy Day. So the Moorish Americans aren't left off the hook. We must promptly attend our meetings and send our children to Sunday school, right? Because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. So we can't leave out that nationality and divine creed. And that segues into what we're talking about today. We're going to be reading from chapter 27 in the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And as we go into the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, remember last week, if you if you don't, I'll refresh your memory. We read over chapter 26, Holy Instructions of Unity, right? And we spoke about that. Unity of what? You're speaking about unity of thought with your very own higher self. And just that word unity, unity is the state or quality of being one. So in verse or chapter 26, we're focusing on how to unify our own thoughts with our higher self. Why would we want to unify with our higher self? Because the higher self is Allah in man. And so in chapters 25 through 30, we're speaking about the foundations of our Moorish communities, right? We're going to be going over 27 today, and over the next few weeks, we'll do up to chapter 30. Then we're going to go back to chapter 25. I didn't want to do that first because chapter 25 is speaking about the divine origin, right, of the Asiatic nations, or the Holy Covenant. Sorry, the Holy Covenant. But I want to cover these chapters, these subsequent chapters first. 26, unity, holy instructions on unity. I want to speak about these bonds of affection, these things that bond us together, not just the common origin, the common blood ties. We also are supposed to have a common way, a common philosophy, a common divine creed. If we have this, then we can actually live in peace and happiness. So we want to cover these things first because this is what binds us together, or bonds us together, right? So we're going to be on the holy unity of the rich and poor today, chapter 27. Remember, we're speaking about the foundations of our own communities, our Moorish communities, our Asiatic communities, right? Without this, nothing works. There's no bonds of affection, nothing. If we skip over this, right? Nothing that we do works if we're just going from purely from an earthly secular approach. We all know that world very well. We all know the secular, the Roman world very well, because this is what most of us have been experiencing, right? This is what we've been growing up with. This is what we know. So now we want to learn a higher vibration, a higher thought, and combine this with our everyday life. That's another, that's what we were speaking on last week about unity, right? So, when you go into Matthew in the Bible, Matthew 6, verses 31 through 33 says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." And that is why in our Holy Koran, we have what, some people say, oh, this is the boring stuff. This is why the prophet puts all the boring stuff first. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. We will not leave that out. We will not. Nobody is going to come and corrupt this or try to change something that's holy and divine that was given to us through Allah or by Allah through his holy prophet, right? So we going to do the boring stuff first, because this is the spiritual part. This is the divine creed. This is the part that can't be overlooked, or everything that we do will be tainted. This is what plagues the Moorish nation right now. Our nation's in disarray. This is why we have to pick up the pieces and start everything almost from scratch. It's because for years, those who kept to this, even those who tried to keep this going, this Moorish Science Temple of America, were so concerned with the earthly, just the secular portion, the trying to petition the government or trying to, do things of that nature, but not doing the work on themselves spiritually. You can't do that. You can try, but your own people will take you down. If your own people are suffering from greed and things that we are supposed to be conquering, this is why we have the holy instructions of unity, the holy unity of the rich and poor, holy instructions from the prophet, master and servant, magistrate and subject. We're not supposed to have problems with our leadership trying to get over on us, selling us out, right? We already have that covered. The prophet already covered that stuff nearly 100 years ago. So when we have those issues, and trust me, Morris, we do. I don't want to turn you off by telling you of all the corruption and things that we have to face, just the things that we faced in coming into the movement and working to build this temple for our community here in Ohio, right? It might make you want to quit. You hear that there's some agents on our side of the movement. But the thing is, Morris, if we came in and we followed these instructions, there wouldn't even be any agents in here, right? They wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't tolerate them. They wouldn't even be able to be in positions of leadership because we wouldn't tolerate them. We wouldn't allow it to happen because we would follow our prophet no matter what, right? And so let's get in here, Morris. And I'm telling you, that's the reason why. Anytime we suffer, anytime things aren't where they're supposed to be, it's not because of the white man. It's not because of all these other excuses and reasons and things of that nature. No, it's us. It's always us. This is what we're instructed to do in our Quran anyway. Always go back to self. It always returns to self. So if we're following these divine instructions, we have no opposition. There's no opposition on earth that can oppose us. There's no one who can stop us from achieving, right, what the prophet set out for us to achieve. He gave us all that we need. Now we need to take it and save ourselves. That's a loose quote of the prophet. But for the most part, that's what he said. He gave us the keys. Okay? There is no enemy. It just appears to be an enemy. But in actuality, everything that appears to be opposing us is just there to strengthen us. That's it. It's only there to strengthen us. Okay, so and remember that divine side of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that's being taught first because it can't be left out. We want to succeed for real. And that's why in Matthew 6, verse 31 through 33, is telling you seek first the kingdom of God. Then everything else will be added to you. You don't want to do it the other way. Plenty of people try to, cut corners and, gain wealth or whatever it is they want to do the other way, cutting out the creator. And it's all going to wind up biting you in the end if you do that. So, chapter 27, the holy unity of the rich and the poor. And remember, unity is the state or quality of being one. All right. So for us now, with this unity, holy unity of the rich and poor, the two that are pitted against each other, right? But the prophet's letting us know that we don't, or at least within our society, it doesn't have to be this kill or be killed, this dog eat dog world, right? We don't have to have these politicians, these lawmakers, religious leaders, people that are getting over on the people. We don't have to have that within our society. We don't have to have the corruption, the poor bleeding, the rich bleeding the poor, right? We don't have to have that. And so we're giving away another way, because that's another thing, Moors, for those that are trying to leave all of this out, that are they're basically just trying to continue the ways of Rome with a Moorish name on it, right? Put my fez on, but I'm still going to try to get over on you and do everything that we're doing right now, right? Like, it's not like we don't have people in our own communities from our own side of the community that's trying to get over on our people. We already have that. We're not trying to bring that into the Asiatic states of North America. We're leaving that behind. We have a better way. And so the man to whom Allah hath given riches and blessed with a mind to employ them aright is peculiarly favored and highly distinguished, right? Peculiar favor, like he's special, unique, distinct from all others, right? Standing out from the rest, and highly distinguished, respected. He looked on his wealth with pleasure. Because it affordeth him the means to do good. Okay? And with this joy, enjoyment, this satisfaction, this pleasure that come from the wealth that he's afforded, it's afforded to him because he means to do good. Now, this is a universal principle that most don't understand. If you look at most of the wealthy people in the world, and when I say wealthy, I mean, if you're looking at the people who are really getting money, like billionaires, they're all philanthropists, right? I've spoken on this before. They're all philanthropists. You could just type Bill Gates. There's articles that'll come up talking about how he's trying to give away all his wealth. Now, I'm not a fan of Bill Gates. Not a fan.
Join the meeting.
But it doesn't matter, right? They're practicing a universal principle. And it's right here in your Holy Koran. You get more wealth if you intend to do good. Now, even if these people have other motives and things that they're trying to do, they still have that philanthropy portion that they put a lot of work into, which is just about, doing good in society, right? It's a universal principle. And so I'm saying there's some people in the world who understand this. All right. So he protecteth the poor that are injured. He suffereth not the mighty to oppress the weak. Do y'all understand what that's trying to say? What that's saying to us? Suffereth not. He's not tolerating those who want to oppress the weak. He seeketh out objects of compassion, right? He inquireth into their wants. He relieveth them with judgments and without ostentation. He assisteth and rewardeth merit, right? Seeking out the people who are showing virtue, higher virtues. He encourageth ingenuity and liberally promoteth every useful design. He carrieth his own works, his own great works. His country is enriched and the labor is employed. He formeth new schemes and the arts receive improvement. He considers the superfluities of his table as belonging to the poor of his neighborhood, and he defraudeth them not. So the superfluities, that's the excess, right? He considers all the excess, all this extra money, extra everything that he has is belonging to the poor of his neighborhood, and defraudeth them not, meaning he doesn't cheat them. All this excess is so that we can all have everything that we need, right? So these instructions, obviously, people aren't living by all of this. These are instructions for us so that we can show the world how it's done. So if Bill Gates can have his philanthropy and they're talking about how he's trying to give his wealth away, we can show him how to really do it because we don't trust them. We don't trust them. So the prophet is showing us how to do this for real, right? You have all of this excess instead of, I'm going to take this and I'm going to get, thousands and thousands of pairs of shoes, more shoes than I could ever wear in my life. I'm going to do all this excess, right? Well, make sure that everybody in the neighborhood has what they need. There's nobody, because you have places, obviously in a city like New York, where you have places in Manhattan where there's like just millionaires upon millionaires. There's literally there's millions of millionaires just in the city of New York alone. So you have those neighborhoods where there's millionaires, but then New York is so expensive. You also have a bunch of people that's homeless right there. You have places in Los Angeles, in LA, Beverly Hills, where you have all these millionaires, billionaires, and then not that far from where they live, you have all these people that are homeless and destitute, right? That shouldn't exist. So obviously, we don't want to, as Moors, just continue this way of living. We have to follow the prophet. You want to have a Moorish community, and some of these Moors who want to leave this out, they have these big mansions, and there's a bunch of poor, destitute Moors suffering. Why? Because these people just want to copy what the Romans are doing. They don't want to change anything. They just want to put a little Moorish twist on it, right? No. We have to follow the prophet. You're here at the Moorish Science Temple of America because something inside of you is calling you to this great task, to uplift, to build our nation. Nobody's going to do it for you. It doesn't even make sense to think that somebody's going to just do this for you, or the Europeans just going, hey, let's get them all this money so they can build up their nation. That doesn't even make sense. We have to do it. That's why you're here. And we have to do it right. We cannot leave out these holy, divine instructions, right? We don't want our own people trying to get over on us, which they do. Our own people sell us out all the time. You guys remember just last week when I was speaking about how they get over on us, and it's so subtle now because unlike in the 1800s where they could just come out and say, oh, the Negro's a slave, oh, the Negro has no rights, and they would talk like that openly, right? Now it has to be more subtle. It can't do that. Things have changed, right? So when George Bush signs not the Negro, Act, but the Voter Rights Act, right? Giving us the right to vote. Oh, thank you, George Bush, for giving us Negroes the right to vote. It's done in a subtle manner so that even if you see this, you don't know what you're looking at. You see this right here when George Bush signed this a couple years back, I think 2006. What's this article say? Yeah, 2006. When he extended our rights to vote for another 25 years, this is going to end in 2031. You see, there's an Asiatic man. That's John Conyers. He passed away. He was the rep from Michigan, congressman. He's standing there smiling, right? This isn't a knock to him. This is not meant to be an attack on, him or anyone else, but just saying honestly, as a congressman, congressmen, senators, they know the law. They understand what's really going on here, even if you don't. Even if most of our people can see this and have no idea that this means that we don't fall under the constitutional fold, that we don't have the right to vote just like everybody else, that they have to give us a privilege and they renew it every 25 years. He knows. But he's there for the photo op because they need Asiatics to be going along with this because nobody trusts them. Nobody trusts George Bush. Remember when he got the shoe thrown at him? Right? Nobody trusts him. They see him as the bad guy. So they always have to have some Asiatics there to co-sign on it. So people like this sell us out every day. They sell us out for a living. They get paid very well to keep the secret and to sell us out. We don't want this anymore. This is why we have to follow our prophet. That cuts out all of this. All of these people that sell us out, they want to come in and figure out a way to get paid and keep things going the way that they are. We're cutting all that out. They didn't like the prophet because he came to end all of that. Okay? All of that. And as I said again, it's our own people that participate in this, that keep this system going. It's always our own. There's no excuse for this. There are people who know the law and at a deeper level than any of us do. Why? Because they're in closed door meetings where there's only there's the other brother. I think his name was Charles Rangel. He was another lawmaker. So he is Asiatic brother too, I think, from New York. So they have several of our people in there co-signing on this, just extending our right to vote. Nobody said a word, and they definitely not going to take out time to explain to you what this really means. The only ones who will actually do something about it is this small grassroots organization called the Moorish Science Temple of America, started by a divine prophet from North Carolina, one of us, right? You can't count on Condoleezza Rice or any of these other people, any of these other lawmakers who know what's really going on, understand the law. You can't count on any of them to do anything about it. They'll show up for the photo op and they'll keep the lie going. All right? This happens all the time. So I'm not just saying that to sound sensational. They really do. They sell us out every day. They do it for a living. That's how they get paid. All right. And there's plenty of our own, even those who call themselves Moors, who seem sincere, who will sell us out, who will try to keep this going. We have to follow the prophet or we'll never stop. So we're given instructions on how to conduct ourselves, how to conduct our communities. So we don't want this, the Jay-Z's and all this stuff that want to come in and floss. Oh, I got all this money and you got none. Look at me. Look at you. You dirty. You dingy. Look at me. I got all these chains. I spend $1 million in the club. We don't want that. That's ridiculous. He considers the superfluities of his table as belonging to the poor of his neighborhood, and he defraudeth them not. Right? We can't flex and floss like that if people's hurting in our own community. There's no reason anyone should be poor. There's no reason anyone should be hungry, and definitely no reason anyone should be homeless. There's more than enough here, right? People are hurting because insurance, right? You can't even afford to go to the hospital. It's crazy. And rents and everything's going up. I'm not saying this to be negative, just saying that that doesn't exist within our society if we follow our prophet. We're not going to continue this system, right? We're not going to continue that. And if we see people coming in who want to act like that, we're not going to allow them to do this in our community. The benevolence of his mind is not checked by his fortune. He rejoiceth, therefore, in riches, and his joy is blameless, meaning he doesn't feel guilty to enjoy his wealth because he's not getting over on his people, right? He's benevolent. What is benevolence? Goodwill, desire to do good to others. But woe upon him that heapeth up wealth in abundance and rejoiceth alone in the possession thereof, right? You just happy to get all this wealth, that grindeth the face of the poor and considereth not the sweat of their brows, right? This is the opposite of how we're to be. He driveth on oppression without feeling. The ruin of his brother disturbeth him not. Right? He should be tossing and turning in his sleep, feeling horrible, but he's not worried about it. The tears of the orphan he drinketh as milk. The cries of the widow are music to his ears. Right? And so this is what's pushed at us, promoted at us. Even in the music, right? Our own people making music like this, flossing, flexing, showing off, not caring about the pain and suffering and things that's going on in our own community and doing nothing to assist. His heart hardened with the love of wealth. No grief or distress can make impression upon it, but the curse of iniquity pursueth him. And iniquity, that's gross immorality or injustice. Right? So wickedness, immorality, and that follows you everywhere that you go. The curse of iniquity pursueth him. He liveth in continual fear, the anxiety of his mind, and the rapacious desires of his own soul take vengeance upon him for the calamities he has brought upon others. And this is something like rapacious is very greedy. This is something that you would know about, but there are people who live in fear, anxiety of people finding out all of the wicked, despicable things that they do to maintain their wealth, to get over on others. There's people, even of our own, from our own communities that are intelligent, that know better, but they make music that promotes violence, promotes, criminal activity, promotes having no morals, right? Loose sexually. They promote this stuff and they know better. Now there's some that don't know better and they just trying to get paid. They think, I don't know what they think, but there's people who know better. They know better. Some of them even know about this more stuff. They know about the prophet in private. They want to learn more. They want to be a part of this, but they're a part of the downfall of our people. They know better. They sell death, not just to our people, but to the world. Because when you go to other countries and you see the image of our people that gets put out there, especially with the music and stuff, it's all negative. And so this is why these people get paid well to make us look like savages, and also to encourage the youth to, do things and make decisions that they're gonna regret, you know. And so they live also in fear and anxiety. And there's so many different ways that people do this. They participate in the downfall of society. They're always worried that it's going to come back on them. Right? It's just guilt. Why live like that? Oh, what are the miseries of poverty in comparison to the gnawings of this man's heart? Just, showing that, hey, nobody's getting away with the stuff that they do. Let the poor man comfort himself. Yes, rejoice, for he hath many reasons. He sitteth down to his morsel in peace His table is not crowded with flatterers and devourers. So just giving you an example too of how the poor are also rich, right? They have peace of mind, sitting down to his morsel, whatever you have, whatever is yours, whether it's food or something else, you're able to sit down and enjoy it in peace. You don't have flatterers, you fake friends, people to tell you anything, and devourers, right? People that are literally there to devour you, to try to take everything they can from you. He is not embarrassed with a train of dependents, nor teased with the clamors of solicitations, right? All these people that are trying to live off of you, always trying to get money from you. Debarred from the dainties of the rich, he escapeth also their diseases. With debarred meaning you don't have all of these extra things that the rich have, dainties of the rich. He escapeth also their diseases, these things that, whether it's excess food, whatever it is, right? These things, these refinements of the rich, the spoils, also excludes you from the illness that may come from taking part in these things. The bread that he eateth is not so sweet to his taste. The water he drinketh is not so pleasant to his thirst. Yea, far more delicious water than the richest draughts of the luxurious. His labor preserveth his health, and procureth him a repose to which the downy bed of sloth is a stranger. Right? He limiteth his desires with humility, and the calm of contentment is sweeter to his soul than all the acquirements of wealth and grandeur. Let not the rich, therefore, presume on his riches, nor the poor in his poverty yield to despondence. It's cut off in here, but hang on. All right. Let not the rich, therefore, presume on his riches, nor the poor in his poverty yield to despondence, for the providence of Allah dispenseth, happiness to them both. And this is telling us how to have unity, right, of the rich and poor, not only, on an individual level, but also in our communities, right? In Islam, that is correct. Even our own so-called Muslim brothers and sisters, right? They have their own agendas. So this is why we're not to get caught up in that. The prophet brought us something simple and pure truth to us, so that if we follow his instructions, we can truly have peace and happiness. If, that's a big if, are we going to follow our prophet? Are we? Did the people follow Jesus, who we as Muslims see Jesus as a prophet? Did they follow him? Not really. Did the people follow the prophet Muhammad? The prophet Muhammad said that after the third generation, the people would go astray. And they went astray before that. Right? By the third generation, they had already started going off to do their own thing. Right? So now it's on us. Are we going to follow our prophet? So just going back to this, hang on, Morris. Right? We have two economic classes, right? The rich and the poor. And we're being shown the way for us to conduct ourselves, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, economic conditions, right? We're supposed to have virtue regardless. We're supposed to value virtue regardless, right? Virtue, the higher aspects of community of humanity, right? The higher aspects versus vices, which is just the desires, the lower base desires, right? Like, for example, if we just value our vices, which is what's being promoted to us as humans or humanity, this is what's being promoted to us, especially here in America, is to just pursue our vices, right? You just trying to have sex, you're just trying to, eat, you're trying to drink alcohol, you're trying to to get as much money as you can, right? For fashion, shoes, looks, appearances, right? Do things to your body. Um, um, this is what's promoted to us, to just be stuck in that realm where that's all we pursue, where that's all we're thinking about. There was a video, I think I played it before. This is a short video where Kanye West was sitting there talking about how the music industry is basically manipulated to try to keep people stuck in their lower self. And he was talking about, and he knows what he's talking about. Is he used to be a beat maker. That's what he did, make beats. And he's talking about how they keep the beat like with the 808 beat to keep you stuck in your lower chakras. And then all the lyrics is, it's all negativity, right? So this is what's promoted to us. So it wouldn't matter if you're rich or poor, you're going to be stuck in your lower self. The prophet is telling us and showing us there's another way, right? So that if you're poor, you're or rich, it doesn't even matter, right? We're pursuing our higher virtue so that if you have more money, you can do more good in the world. You can help and assist more, right? So we're not trying to see like wealth necessarily as a source of happiness. We're trying to pursue our relationship with Allah. Hang on. Pardon that, Morris. Okay. So yeah, we're more concerned with our relationship with Allah across the board, regardless of how much money we have or don't have, right? And that just goes back to the verse from Matthew 6 that we read earlier. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you, right? So we want to have that proper conception, this proper understanding, right, of how to establish our earthly salvation. We have to understand that it starts with the spiritual. And that's why when we go to the Quran, the whole first portion of it showing the missing years of Jesus, showing the potential in man of unifying with our higher self. We're given our true nature in the very first chapter. And then after that, we're given instructions on how to bring this about within each and every one of us. And there's a very clear reason why this is done. And I want everyone to understand this. The prophet does this because it doesn't matter how much wealth, how much power, how much, money we obtain, right? If we don't have this moral compass, this inner compass within us, if we don't have that, if we don't have our divine creed, it's always going to lead to our own destruction. And if you give somebody a bunch of money and they're on a path to destruction, all you're doing is helping them do it even faster. There was this one guy who I just heard this story a long time ago. There's a guy who won the lottery, and he was saying how like he always said as soon as he get the lottery, he gonna get as much coke and women as he could. And like he actually won the lottery. I forgot that it was a joke, but this really happened. Like as soon as he hit the lottery, that's exactly what he did. I think he even overdosed on like cocaine, right? So if we don't have the moral compass, we don't have that divine creed, right? It's always going to lead to corruption. It's always going to lead to our own destruction. And that's why, even though I don't believe this government's ever going to give their slaves their possessions, aka the black so-called African American, I don't think they're ever going to give them reparations. But if they did, with the current mind state that they have, our people will only give that money right back to them. They'll empower them even more. And they'll further destruct themselves because we have an element that is pushing drugs and all of these negative things to our own people, right? People that look like us promoting all of this negativity. So now you're giving people things that they can go ahead and destroy themselves even faster. Right? Because all we'd be doing is feeding the lower self. What is the lower self doing? Right? What does the lower self represent? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. What is the lower self doing? Traveling the earth to and fro, seeking whom it may devour. Right? So you can't give wealth and power to something that's stuck in that position. So this is why the prophet came to start our spiritual evolution. Right? Because all of these other things are temporary. And speaking on Jesus earlier, Jesus was in the same or similar position as we learn through the prophet that Jesus actually came with a spiritual message to help to release his own people from under Roman yoke and law, right? And as he came to his own people, the Jews or the Hebrews, whatever, they didn't accept him. They rejected him. They weren't trying to hear that message, right? They missed that message. That this is something, his kingdom is, not of this earthly realm. They missed that whole message. They weren't even trying to hear that, right? The prophet Jesus was coming to tell them a similar thing that, hey, all of this stuff is temporary. It's not even real. If you get this spiritual message, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Then all of this other stuff that you think is holding you back, it'll be gone. Just like that. So he was coming to get them that. They weren't necessarily trying to hear that message. Okay. And if you look in chapter 7, look at chapter 7, verses 14 and 15. Right? Jesus is speaking to Lammas, and Lammas asked, what do you say of power? And Jesus said, it is the result of force, but it is not. It is illusion, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. Right? And so the force is the will of Allah. Power is just that manifests. So force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent, and power is that will and manifest directed by breath. So he's coming to connect them with their own higher self so they could change things for real, right? By changing themselves. They rejected that message. And we're in the same position too with our own prophet, one of us, right? Who's come to get us in alignment with Allah's will, right? And even within our own people, we have that same energy, people that want to reject it. In chapter 47, verse 16, it says, through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. All right. So he's not saying they suffered because they didn't have a nationality. This is where a lot of people get stuck. A lot of Moors, even very intelligent Moors, they're so stuck on the law and we need to try to push the European. This is how we do it. No. The prophet said through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. Divine creed and principles. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774. And the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe of whom they knew nothing. We were already falling, already getting away from our own creed, not living up to our own divine principles. Okay? So, proclaiming the nationality, Moors that want to, they got this paperwork. I'm going to file this. I'm going to put this in the government. You're going to do all this stuff by yourself and do nothing. You're not the first person to do it. It's not going to save you. It's not. We have to imitate the prophet. The prophet didn't just say, oh, only the one leader has to imitate me. All you guys, you just need one of y'all to step up and to follow me. No, all of us must imitate the prophet. We all must adhere to these divine instructions, right? Um, he gave us divine instructions, which means we must follow them. We must take action, right? So proclaiming our nationality, I'm a Moor, right? I'm a Moorish American. That's only one part of it. Now, we also must live the life accordingly, right? We must live the life accordingly after the principles of the holy and divine laws of our forefathers, right? These teachings were not accepted by the rulers, neither by the rich, because they loved the principles of the Ten Commandments. So when we look at Christianity, it was distorted so that they're pushing the Ten Commandments instead of following the example that Jesus set. They got away from all of that. And this is what they gave to the people, right? But we understand, right? We're looking in the, holy unity of the rich and poor. The lamb is the poor people, and the lion is the rulers and the rich. And through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, all men are one and equal to seek their own destiny and to worship under their own vine and fig tree after the principles of the holy and divine laws of their forefathers, right? And then by doing this, we can live in peace and unity. And that's the only way that it can be done in these days, right? So the prophet actually gave us the key to usher in our earthly and divine salvation. We don't want to get stuck like many Moorish Americans do, just trying to get power. You want to petition the government. That's where you get people to get caught up in all that sovereign citizen stuff, right? Thinking that's going to give them some type of earthly salvation, not realizing people have been trying that for decades. It's not working. It's never going to work. The prophet taught us not just nationality, he gave us divine creed. That's why I said that's the boring stuff for a lot of people, because they're not trying to do the work on themselves. There's no way any of this works if we leave that out. And I wouldn't trust anyone that's trying to leave that out anyway, because that means you're trying to bring your vices, your lower desires. You're just trying to do what the Romans have been doing. And this way of living is not good enough. It's not. It simply is not good enough, right? Not just because I said so, because we can all see that it's not working. It's not working for the world. You know, we want to do this for real. When we go back into the Quran, just going back into chapter 27, um, just looking at verse 2 again. He looketh on his wealth with pleasure because it affordeth him the means to do good. I'm saying again that even the rich Romans, the pale skinned Europeans that are rich, that are wealthy, understand that measure, and they do it from their own perspective, where they have their philanthropy, where they maybe build libraries. They actually do some good. Build libraries, do things like that, have foundations and charities set up to assist, to put out some good into the world, because they understand that law is universal. There's no way around it, right? So they understand that they must have charity, they must do philanthropy, okay? But we also know that obviously they haven't been doing enough good in the world, because we have plenty of people that are suffering, that are poor, that are starving, right? There's so much that it could be done so much better. So things like that will not change until we change it. We don't want to just come in and just copy paste what they're doing, what they've taught to us over all these years. That's why I'm saying that what the prophet brought for us is a whole new program. Wash all of that stuff out of your mind and start over again. Return to the ways of your ancestors. Come into your divine creed. We can't do it without that, right? If anyone wants to leave that out and try to come in, right, it's not going to work. Now, the benefits of proclaiming our nationality with the Moorish Science Temple of America and practicing our divine creed, it guarantees our earthly and divine salvation. Those are the benefits. It guarantees it. If you come into this for real and you come in, you know, this isn't just lip service for you. You actually come in and become a Moorish American Muslim. This is going to make your earthly, meaning your life, better, and divine salvation, your spirituality. It guarantees it. And don't come in here and say, well, what you mean guarantee it, man? I'm having these problems. No, we're learning. We all have stuff to deal with. Have some faith. Maybe it takes some time, right? But no, it ensures it. It guarantees it. That means there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You come in, you follow these divine instructions, it guarantees our earthly and divine salvation. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We got that, Morris? So this is the work in progress. This is why the prophet set this up for our nation as Moorish American Muslims. We hold to the holy day. That's why we're all here. And then we also hold to Sunday school. And we want to bring our children in too so that they can learn this. Right? Because, you know, we don't want the nation to be gone after one generation. So we do this as a family. And we're building something great here, Moors. I'm glad that everybody's here and that things are growing. I'm gonna go ahead and yield the floor on this. And if anybody has any questions or any comments, feel free to speak. Islam.
Islam, could I be heard?
Islam, brother.
Islam. So I just wanted to get like a deeper take on what you were saying in chapter in chapter 7. And so what I get from that, you know, it says you said something about let me see where is that verse at. It says let me get it. It says he considers the superfluities of his table as it belongeth to the poor of his neighbor, and he that defraudeth them not. So basically what I get from this is that like God gave us a mind, like some of us, God gave us a mind, you know what I'm saying, to get wealth and everything. And so a better way of taking it, I consider that as like basically, it's like you basically working for Allah because, you know what I'm saying, like if you get like a job where you get, maybe say like you work for like a work from home job, right? And sometimes they provide you all the tools like a computer and stuff like that, an internet service and stuff like that. So they give you the tools to do the job. And so if you best to get riches, that's mean basically you are working for Allah and you have a contract with Allah. And it says to defraud them. So basically it's kind of like Allah saying, okay, this is what I need you to do. I'm gonna give you this mindset to go ahead, you know what I'm saying, to make this money so you can give it to the poor as they need it, basically, and just distribute it out. And at the same time, you can have good money as well, you know what I'm saying, by you doing this for me. But then you get to let me see this other verse. Let me pull it up here, but let me go to the next one here. 1 second. D went down here. 1 second. But then when let me see, it's chapter 27 or 37. Okay. 2nd. And then it says, in verse 9, it said, but woe unto him that heapeth up wealth in abundance and rejoiceth alone in the passion thereof and grindeth the face of the poor and consider not the sweat of their brows. So basically, you giving you a woe, which means like, if I do this for you and you do this, you know what I'm saying, there's going to be consequences for doing this because you kind of like, in a sense, breaking the, you know what I'm saying, the covenant with Allah and with the covenant that we have with each other. And so that's what I basically get from that. And so you got to watch it when you get in that situation. If you get the money, you got to do right by Allah and your family. And with that, I give up the mic.
Islam, brother, exactly as you said. Like we're giving a demonstration in verses 1 through 8 of basically how we are supposed to conduct ourselves, right? And in 1 through 8, we guide ourselves with benevolence. So that, like you said, when for someone who's wealthy, you know, you have a contract, you have a covenant with Allah, you are to serve humanity. By you having wealth, you're making things greater, better for your community. And then on the flip side, we're given the warning for those who want to just serve their vices, their lower passions, want to serve their lower self. Verses 9 through 14, these, remember, at the top of every other page in the Quran, it says holy instructions, divine instructions, right? So verses 9 through 14, basically a warning to those that serve the lower self. You're getting that wealth and you all about the lower self. It's not going to be good for you, right? We're supposed to be benevolent. And this is important too, because once again, we're coming into something new. This isn't just some costume, like if you're wearing a turban or fez or something, or just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna act like I'm a Moor, now I'm a diplomat and I'm above the law and I can just do whatever I want, right? Like, no, no. We're supposed to become divine, benevolent, helpful. We're supposed to really live off of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And if you don't live off of those principles, it's going to show in how you live. You're not going to be hiding anything from anyone. And then also, it's going to destroy you. It's going to lead to your destruction. So we're given those instructions. And then 15 through 21 show us that the actual riches belong to the poor, right? This is supposed to really let you know that having wealth is more, it's more of a burden because there's more that you have to do. So the person who becomes wealthy should be someone who wants to do good anyway. So now they just have more means to help and assist with. If you don't and you're all about the lower self, you're going to bring about your own destruction. There's no way around that. And so they're not teaching this in society, and especially amongst our community. They're not teaching this. It's so far gone now with the music and the TV shows and movies and everything promoted it to us, to our youth. They're not teaching this. They're promoting people to be about, destroying yourself. So that if you do get your hands on some money, you're going to destroy yourself and try to take some people out with you. Right? So on that note, I yield the floor, Brother Yabe Islam.
Islamism, Grand Sheik. I just wanted to more or less make a statement and Camelback and thank you for the reading today. Thank you for the chapter. It was much needed. With chapter 27, I'm just going to go to the beginning. It says, "Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Jesus." With that statement that the Prophet wrote in the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that is the divine national movement. Everything is the divine and national movement if it's dealing with what the Prophet gave to us, no matter if we take it from the idea, if we want to deal with it from a financial point, or as we would say, a divine part. All of it's divine and holy because it's all a part of the divine and national movement. With that being said, thank you for the reading today. I appreciate it. Islamism.
Islam, brother. Gratitude for sharing your measure, brother. Islam, are there any other comments or questions? Morris, feel free to ask any questions you have or share your take on this. All right, one last time. Islam, I yield the floor. Islam.
Islam. So I just wanted to add a little bit more to this too, because I noticed, like, like Noble Drew Ali, he put everything together because, like, we're talking about things that we have to do and show gratitude. And if you notice, like all people, like those people that have like those books about getting wealthy or whatever, and mostly, like, what I'm saying, they always tell you that you have to show gratitude and you also have to give back. What I'm saying, when you do something, you got to make a commitment to give back once you start to receive. And also for the wealthy people who don't give much, I know I hear like shows on TV where people say they became super wealthy and they was just miserable and sad, and they always were like, a lot of wealthy people were thinking about committing suicide, and that goes back to what you said, is that said eventually you would destroy yourself. And I'm just thinking about like all the wealthy people who have, you know what I'm saying, some have committed suicide and some just start going to drugs because they have no real fulfillment because they're not really doing anything really productive with their money. And with that, I wanted to give up the mic.
Islam, brother, again, gratitude for sharing. And definitely there's a science to it, So if you have more wealth, you're supposed to be doing more good in the world. So this is given to us just so that we understand. And within our communities, we know how to conduct ourselves, right? So that we don't have those problems that other people have. And one last time, just want to put out that call to anyone who has any questions or comments. Feel free to comment. I yield the floor. Okay, well, if there's no questions or comments, we're going to go ahead and go into the closing of the meeting. Before we close out, we're going to read our divine warning. Before we do that, though, I just wanted to remind people we will be having a physical meeting on Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will not have the Sunday school meeting at 7. It will be at 1 o'clock. We will have it on Zoom for people who can't make it physically. We will be at the South Hamilton Library in Columbus, Ohio. Everybody's on Facebook. You should get an invite to that. But that will be from 1 to 4 on Sunday at the South Hamilton Library, Columbus, Ohio. And now we're going to read the divine warning. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind, to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know the law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national Constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So, there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come. Because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, disease, etc. And I, the prophet, do hear and believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with the divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. and they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South, and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the Prophet. All right, Islam Moors. Okay, once again, just want to remind everybody that Sunday, we will be at the South Hamilton branch of the library in the meeting room from 1 to 4. And actually, I'll put that information on Facebook from 1 to 4. And that will be here in Columbus. And our Sunday school will be at the same time. So it'll still be on Zoom, but it'll be from 1 to 4. And I don't think there's any other announcements, Moors. Just want to put that call out there, though. If there's anyone out there who would like to proclaim your nationality and join the Moorish Science Temple of America, feel free to speak now. If you want to do so later, you can always go to our website. That's MoorishAmericans.com. You can just go to MoorishAmericans.com. We also accepting donations. That's at MoorishAmericans.com. If you're on the website, just scroll down to the bottom and you can use the PayPal button on there to send a donation. MoorishAmericans.com. If you are a member or if you just joined, click at the top where it says Temple Dues so that you can send your dues. Ask before trying to purchase any items, though, just to make sure that we actually have them in stock right now. But you can use that to pay your dues. And then, of course, if people want to send a donation, you can always donate. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the meeting out. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I ask that everyone please stand and face the east if you are able. For the closing prayer, you do not need to repeat after us. Right.
Allah bana hak nine kata explore part of the divine. Best on hope and amen.
Amen. Islam Moorish, peace and love. This meeting is now adjourned. Happy Holy Day, Moors.
Peace and love. Happy Holy Day.
Islam, happy holy day.
Love, happy holy day.
Islam, happy holy day, Muslim.
Islam,
See you
happy
all
holy
on Sunday.
Peace and love. Happy holy day.
Peace and love. Happy holy day.